Why is this so important to learn? Like I said before, you might have this fabulous inner life and be a great person, but if you can't project that, nobody's gonna know. You know, an old copywriting mentor of mine had a quote, "There's plenty of great products in the marketing graveyard." Right? In other words, there's plenty of great products that could have helped a lot of people, but because they weren't presented and marketed properly, they just didn't get the exposure they needed and they died, right? Don't be that product. Yo, welcome to part 4 of the Charisma Mastery video series. You know, I think a lot about my first forays, if you will, back into social interaction, way back in the day, many, many years ago, where I employed a lot of gimmicks and like gambits and routines and lines and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I think about that often, how I believed at the time that only prepared scripts could yield any results, could yield anything of value. And when I finally realized the fact that some people I saw could naturally interact very successfully without script or lines, you know, but with flexibility and creativity, I wondered how I could have been so lacking in the sense of the possible. But from there, you might wonder, what else are you excluding from the realm of the possible? So charisma can be broken down to a science, right? Practical, applicable, and with quantifiable results. So these exercises are methodical and very systematic. There's no need for you to be hunting and pecking in the dark like I did. You can get straight to the juice, so to speak. Now, why is this so important to learn? Like I said before, you might have this fabulous inner life and be a great person, but if you can't project that, nobody's gonna know. You know, an old copywriting mentor of mine had a quote, "There's plenty of great products in the marketing graveyard," right? In other words, there's plenty of great products that could have helped a lot of people, but because they weren't presented and marketed properly, they just didn't get the exposure they needed and they died, right? Don't be that product. And by the way, speaking of like products and marketing, what's another one of the most common false beliefs that I see about, you know, surrounding charisma? It's like, if I work hard and I become successful financially and professionally, then people will like me, right? So you see these guys and they spend years, decades even, working their ass to the bone to build a business, or, you know, studying in graduate programs for years and years and years. And finally they get the, you know, the high 6-figure salary, they get the fancy car, they buy a Rolex, and then they find out nobody cares. Like, your Rolex isn't like opening doors for you. At best you might get like, oh, I like the watch, but nobody cares, all right? Because why? They spent all this time indoors. Like for example, even in the process of creating this program, I had to like not go out as much for the past like 8 months. And when I do go out, I see it's a little bit harder for me to have that pizzazz. Why? Because I've isolated myself in that work, right? So it's actively degrading them. You know, and I used to think I'd see these people, you know, these wealthy people, I'd be out at the nightclub and I'd see them in the, you know, the bottle service section at the VIP table. And sure, they're partying with the attractive youngsters, right? But it wasn't until I'm like, wow, I used to envy them. But it wasn't until later I realized, through promoter friends of mine, they told me, oh, they don't know those people. The promoters just brought them over. They literally say like, hey, what's your type? Who do you want to party with? And then the promoters will literally bring these attractive youngsters to their table. And what happens? Yeah, sure, they're partying with them, but then they just drink their booze and then they leave. And then they hang out with the promoter at the end of the night, right? So again, that blew my mind. You know, again, a lot of times, some people, like I said earlier, sometimes you'll see people who spend years and years of their life, almost a decade, in these graduate programs to become a physician or a lawyer, but they study so much, their charisma suffers, right? They have all this knowledge, but they have no charisma. And it's funny, there was a study done, I believe it was in the medical profession, where they sent actual qualified applicants to apply for a job. And then they also sent out actors with zero qualification, but who were very charismatic. And almost every single time, the actor was chosen for the position. Why is this? You gotta understand, all business is relationships. I used to work at a major hotel here in San Francisco, and I was in charge of a department, and one of my responsibilities was hiring. So I hired over 100 people in my time there, and I probably conducted over 1,000 interviews. And I gotta say, at the end of the day, who did I hire? I hired the people I liked. You know, because like whatever the qualifications on the resume, you know, the curriculum vitae, pretty much all the same. But at the end of the day, I gotta think, I'm gonna be spending time with this person, like lots of time with this person in close proximity. Am I going to enjoy the experience, right? So ultimately, the people who get hired are people who are likable, who have charisma, right? Even once you get the job, you'll see it in a work situation, in the office, you know, if you don't have that ability to be likable, basically other people are gonna get the credit. You're gonna be overlooked. But the person who's, you know, glad handing around the office and maybe isn't that good of a worker, he's gonna get all the credit. You know, another thing to think about, me and my colleagues, when we started this business, we built a business on cold organic traffic, right? We didn't run any ads because, you know, we were in the dating realm and our content was kind of deemed somewhat controversial, so we couldn't run advertisements. We built an 8-figure-a-year business from what then? From word of mouth. That's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. But how are we able to do it? Because we learned charisma. So, you know, again, like the applications for business are very, very obvious. Financial independence is mandatory if you want to live your dreams. Like, break out of that confusion. You know, you want to get that screw you money, quote unquote, so you never have to listen to some imbecile telling you what to do, right? When you don't need someone else's money, when you don't need that paycheck, you have a rare power. You have the power to choose. You can turn down bad offers. You can tell your boss to go jump in a lake because you know there's always something better for you right around the corner. You have those opportunities. And look, money's not the end of the world, but having money solves a lot of problems not having money creates. And since, again, all business is based on human relationships, charisma is an absolutely essential component of business success. So this program is designed to make you a charismatic communicator. It's designed to give you a total instrument that is capable of adapting with power, with flexibility to the differing needs of social interactions of all kinds, right? It's designed to give you an instinct for theatrical statement, right? Like a flair for risk-taking boldness, for audacity, which might be described as a combination of cool nerve and irreverence, if you will. So with this program, I want to give you an instrument that expresses your full personality power and further gives you the ability to use that power to congruently express things that might be completely out of character for you right now. Remember, we're trying to do the things that are only possible in the movies here. Selling, closing sales, introducing romantic angles to a discussion smoothly and skillfully. These aren't things that most people do in their everyday lives, right? These kind of skills require technique, they require practice, and they require control. If you expect high-level performance, you've got to heighten your awareness of every possible factor having to do with that kind of charismatic expression. And that's what this program is, a total exercise process based on real-world teaching. Once you've opened up to the possibility, once you remove that judgment, once you've learned to express yourself with total freedom, all you've got to do is then practice the skills. And with Charisma Mastery, you're given a very precise exercise process to do just that, along with guidance from myself and my team to help you along the way. Become a master of your energies. Make the communication choices you want to make at any given moment. This program brings awareness of what you're actually communicating. And your everyday experience and all your social interactions are going to be positively affected as you develop these capabilities. And from the perspective of the people you interact with, the value that they get is the expanded sense of human potential that it conveys. Remember, whatever you feel, they feel. So as you're interacting with them, they get a glimpse of that potential and they think, you know what, maybe I could feel like that too. It's highly attractive. Charismatic expression reveals what humans can be and what we can become. That's what's truly significant. The perception of human potential is increased for the people you interact with. This new free flow of energy that you're going to experience, it's exhilarating for you personally, and it's gratifying for the people you interact with, whether those are your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's strangers. It's going to change your life. So again, focus on the opportunity here. The opportunity is there. This is possible, and I can help you with this. So make sure to check in tomorrow for that final video. I'm going to bring it all together and lay it all bare for you and get ready to experience Charisma Mastery. I'll see you then.